Rural Brunch with Eggs Benedict, today on Urban Kitchen Revolution. Hi, and welcome back to Urban Kitchen Revolution. I'm Chef James Hudson. Today we're going to be transitioning out of our egg series with poached eggs and into sauces. We're going to do our first sauce with Hollandaise, and poached eggs and Hollandaise transition into a brunch favorite, Eggs Benedict. Eggs Benedict is a relatively difficult dish to put together, especially for a novice cook. It involves a lot of techniques that most people aren't used to doing or dealing with. So we're going to deal with them as concretely, succinctly, and as step-by-step as humanly possible today and break them down. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our mise en place together, or everything set up on the stove, get a little stuff mixed up here and ready to go so that we can kind of all bring it together all at the same time and make a really, really delicious Eggs Benedict for your friends and family to be truly amazed by. So without any further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the water bath prepped and ready to go for the actual eggs. And then we're going to transition into getting the butter and eggs ready for the Hollandaise sauce, and finally go about prepping our English muffins so that we can all go back over to the stove and put it all together kind of at the same time, so that we have hot Hollandaise sauce, English muffins that are nicely toasted, and eggs that are perfectly poached kind of all at the same time, and hopefully have a real nice brunch with you and yours. So let's get rolling. First thing is the water. So this is going to be our water bath for our eggs. This is going to be our poaching liquid. So, like I said, I've got basically a nice heavy bottomed saucepan here. We're going to add a couple of pinches of kosher salt to the pan, and just a little bit. This is about 15 grams or a full tablespoon of white vinegar. You just want regular white distilled or white wine vinegar. This vinegar is going to acidulate the water a little bit and help the whites kind of form up real quickly when we finally get to the poaching stage of the water. So we're just going to put this on the stove. We're going to put it on like 8. We're going to definitely bring the temperature down once we get ready, but it's good to have the water bath up and ready to go so that when we're ready we can just do the eggs. So just go ahead and put that on and turn that on. And good. Next thing we're going to do is the butter. Now, a Hollandaise sauce is really it's in the family of hard emulsions or stable emulsions. All we're basically doing is taking egg yolks and melted butter with a couple of other ingredients and emulsifying them together into a silky smooth sauce. This is not a sauce for your diet. This is literally going to be starting off with 6 ounces of butter, so about 180 grams. We're going to be using 2 egg yolks for this and mixing it with a little bit of water and some lemon juice and a little hot sauce to actually create the Hollandaise sauce. This is a cooked sauce, but we'll get into that in just a second. So with the butter, we're just going to put it on the stove like at 4 or 5. We want it to melt, but we don't want it to caramelize or brown. And we don't want it too hot or else it'll break the actual sauce. We're just going to put that on the back here and get that warming up so that we can start our actual Hollandaise sauce. For the Hollandaise sauce, like I said, we're going to start with 2 eggs, but we're only going to use the yolks. Now, for actual separating the eggs, let's do this. Crack my egg right here, draining it into a separate cup. Some people like to go back and forth like this. That's just fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm a big fan of nice clean hands. So what I do, generally speaking, and I also am a little leery of it breaking, I just take my egg, crack it, get that first bit out, and just pour it right into your hand. Your hand is a perfect sieve. Look at that, nice, perfectly, all the whites in there, all the yolk right there, no white in there, or no yolk in there. This can be saved for anything. If you do desserts and you want to do meringues, or if you want to clarify a stock, that's great for that. But for us, for our purposes right now, we're just going to set that off to the side. We're going to add about an ounce, maybe 30 milliliters of water. Take a half of a lemon. And just squeeze that right into your hand. Your hand again will be able to hold on to the seeds that might come out. So we've got just a little bit of acid in there, a little bit of hot sauce. I'm using sriracha right now, but Tabasco will work fine. You're just looking for just a little tiny bit, maybe like 5 grams or a quarter of a teaspoon of hot sauce, just to give it a little bit of punch and panache. And then again, finally, just 2 little sprigs of salt. We're going to set that to the side real quick, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this over to the stove and actually cook this egg mixture so that we don't poison ourselves or our friends with salmonella potentially. But while we're waiting for that and waiting for the butter to basically melt down, we're going to jump on to the English muffins themselves. These are Thomas English muffins. Obviously any brand you have around is just fine. But the real main component I want to stress here on the English muffins is to not cut them with a knife, but instead to take a fork, because what you want to do is kind of work a fork all the way through like this around the English muffin. And that will allow you to have all those great little nooks and crannies that the reason why you have an English muffin in the first place is to have all of that surface area. All that surface area creates area for everything to adhere to and soak into, and you have all sorts of great varying textures between the soft muffin itself and the toastiness. Now, if you have a toaster, obviously you can just throw these in the toaster. I do not own a toaster. It's just, to me, wasted space in the kitchen. So toaster is fine. Toaster oven, if you have that, is fine. Again, I have neither. I'm just going to go ahead and throw these in a 400-degree oven and let those toast up while we're making the rest of the sauce. So we've got basically everything ready to go. I've already pulled out. I'm going to do 2 different kinds of Benedicts today. One with a traditional ham, and also one with smoked salmon. You can use whatever ingredients you like or have handy. If you're looking for a vegetarian option, a roasted portobello mushroom would be an awesome addition to this, or an accompaniment to the rest of this dish. Beef tenderloin, crab cakes, sautéed shrimp. It doesn't really matter. Whatever your taste is, go with it. Use your imagination. Let it run wild. But with all that said, we are basically ready to go. So we're just going to go ahead and cut off from here, go over to the stove, bang out the Hollandaise sauce, get these in the oven, and then get the eggs rolling after we got the Hollandaise sauce going. So let's do it. Okay, so here we are over at the stove. As you can see, we've got our butter melted right here, ready to go. It is warm but not hot to the touch. Water is just starting to come to a simmer. We're going to turn that down, just kind of let that be for a little bit. We're going to concentrate on our Hollandaise sauce here, but first we're going to go ahead and throw our English muffins down into the oven. Take those off the plate, just set them right on down here. And onto the Hollandaise sauce. Now, I've got a burner on here on 4. I personally tend to go straight onto a burner because I've been doing this for a long time and can work the burner on and off in order to regulate the heat on this. If you want, you can also do your hollandaise sauce on here. So what we're looking to do is we're going to basically start slowly cooking the eggs and with this nice low heat. And what's going to happen is it's going to start to froth up a little bit, and then it's going to start creating like ribbons. It's actually going to start to cook and make almost like a custard inside the eggs here. We're doing that, one, to cook the eggs, but also to to stabilize the eggs, so when we add the hollandaise we have a nice hot sauce that stays nice and thick. If we just poured the butter in here right now, we would get an emulsion, but it would be really thin, and it wouldn't be tasty, and it also wouldn't be safe to eat because you know, eggs is a big contributor to salmonella, and just not what you want to serve your guests. Also, this is not a sauce to make and then just have sitting around your kitchen for an hour or 2 hours, or heaven forbid 3, 4, half a day. This sauce is very close to the temperature danger zone, the zone that bacteria starts to really grow rapidly inside of stuff. So not really something you want to be messing with. The longer you have it sitting around, the longer it goes into that danger zone. And since we're basically just barely scratching the surface of getting it out of there when we first make it, it is going to depart from that zone very quickly. As you can see right now, the eggs are starting to actually kind of cream up a little bit. You see how it was very liquid before? Now it's starting to get a little bit of air inside of it, and it's starting to get creamy and a paler shade of yellow. And we're going to keep on with the heat. Continue to cook those eggs while we whip thoroughly and vigorously, making sure to scrape the sides so that we don't get any cooked bit of egg on the sides of the bowl. We're going to keep on going. We're maybe a minute and a half away from being able to add the butter. I'm going to give that a quick test. Yeah, the butter is warm but not hot, so that's good news. So let's continue. We'll do it right up on here. So obviously on the water bath, this is going to take significantly longer as well. But if you've got just a lazy Sunday and this is your first time doing it, I would definitely recommend this methodology here. Okay, you can see it now starting to, when I'm whipping, you can see it start to separate from the bottom of the bowl, right? So we're getting very close to that nice finished product. For speed's sake, I'm going to transfer back over here again and just kind of get it rolling. Okay, see, there we go. We're right there. Boom. Just needed that little touch of heat. So, you see how when you lift up the whisk, it creates like that little figure 8 or little peaks? That's exactly the consistency you want right there. Perfect. So now as long as we got this sitting here, I'm going to pull this off to the side a little bit. Now, a lot of traditional recipe books will call for you to clarify your butter. I don't do it personally because, one, I want that little bit of extra flavor from the milk solids in there, and also butter has a little bit of water in it that's going to help to, as you see, this gets really thick, and that little bit of water that's in the butter itself will help to thin this hollandaise sauce up just a little tiny bit, so that it's more of a sauce consistency and not a paste consistency. And you see we're just doing a little bit at a time of the butter. Just a little dash, completely incorporate it all the way through. A little more, all the way through, now that we're getting towards the end. Nice, very nice. This can be done with one egg, so we could actually decrease the amount of butter by half. Basically for a Hollandaise, for every egg yolk, you're looking at 3 ounces or about 85-90 grams of butter melted. So this amount right here would be perfect for 4 or 5 people. You really don't, a little dab will do you on this for sure. Okay, and now we have a fully finished Hollandaise sauce. As you can see, it's completely incorporated, super velvety, super smooth, really, really nice. Now, we're basically ready to go with the eggs. So we're just going to set this off to the side here, and we're going to move on to poaching the 4 eggs to make this, to finish this dish off. So we've got the water almost ready. What I'm going to be looking for is bubbles coming off the bottom, but not quite breaking the surface. We already have the steam. So we're just a couple of degrees off on this. I've turned the heat up just a little tiny bit to kind of facilitate that, because the water temperature is obviously going to go down because of the coldness of the eggs when we first start them in. So like I said before, we're going to do 4 eggs here because we're going to do 2 full orders of Hollandaise sauce. So give a quick check on our English muffins. They're starting to just brown up. That's awesome. This is all going to come together basically right at the same time, which is outstanding. Okay, so our water is ready to go. As you can see, or maybe see, I hope you can see, there's just a small amount of bubbles. The very first beginning of bubbles is just starting to reach the surface, which is exactly where we want to go. We don't want a rolling boil. We want this to be very, very gentle. So to do the eggs, like I said, and this is just water that we've added a little bit of vinegar to and some kosher salt. I'm going to give this just a little bit of a stir. I don't want to make like a huge whirlpool. I just want a little bit of action in the water that's going to help the eggs to kind of separate from themselves. So onto the pan, get the egg as close as you can into the water without getting your hands in the water. And there's 1. Here comes number 2. Number 3. And number 4. I've got a timer set here. We're going to set it for 3 minutes exactly and start. We want to let these just kind of sit for about a minute or so, just as they are right now. And then we're going to start to very gently lift them off the pan in order to separate them fully. These are looking really, really good right now. As you can see, they're just starting to separate and congeal away from each other. I'm going to give it about 30 more seconds, and then I'm going to go ahead and separate them from each other. While we're waiting for that, I am going to pull out our English muffins that are ready to go. Alright, we're just about a minute into the process now. I'm going to very gently scoop the bottom of these eggs to get them off the bottom of the pan and separate them. Get this one off the bottom, there we go. And now you can see we've got 4 distinct eggs, just very gently cooking in this very gentle water. You see there's not a lot of convective movement. It's just real low and simple. So while those are going, I'm going to go ahead and grab our plates, put them up on the cutting board here so that we can assemble this here when they're all ready to go. Okay, so we're back and we're ready to assemble. So we've got 2 plates right here. We're just going to put an English muffin on each side. Instead, we got some smoked salmon for this bad boy right here. We're going to do a smoked salmon Benedict on this side. a traditional, well, almost traditional. A traditional Eggs Benedict has Canadian bacon, which is basically a cured pork loin. This is just a cured ham. Conditions being what they are. Right now, things like Canadian bacon are actually kind of hard to come by right now. So now it's just time to get the eggs out. What I do is I've got basically just take a slotted spoon. I like to give it a quick little tap on a kitchen towel to kind of remove any excess water. And we're just going to take our finger, or if you want, if your fingers are delicate, a little knife just to kind of scoot it along on there. Again, dab it, take your knife, boom, right on there. 2 more times. Last egg. Really happy with how these congealed up real nice, and they're basically nice and even. This one kind of got away from us a little tiny bit. We can flop that piece of white up there on the side and nobody will be any of the wiser. Set these off to the side. The Hollandaise sauce is a little bit, it's gotten a little thick, so I'm going to take just a little tiny bit of this water right here. It's nice and hot, and the heat will help to kind of loosen that back up again a little bit. It's okay that it has a little bit of the vinegar in there. I didn't get any of the egg in there. We did a pretty clean job, so that really helped bring the Hollandaise back to life real quick and easy. Throw that in there with all the other stuff we're no longer using. And we are just simply going to nappe or lightly coat the top of these Benedicts, or these eggs rather, with our beautiful Hollandaise sauce. Maybe about an ounce or 30 grams per. Not too much because, you know, it's a little bit will do you with Hollandaise sauce for sure. And like you see here, we still have a fair amount, so this could easily do 2 more or 3 more orders worth. I would caution against, you know, unless you have a really big pan, doing any more than like 2 or 3 max orders at a time in something this size. Again, it only takes like 3 minutes, so by the time you get these all assembled, you could have that next batch ready to go, and everyone's basically eating at the same time. You know, serve your guests first. You can always eat a little bit later. Just going to garnish these with a little bit of fresh Italian parsley from the window garden that we have over there. And that is that. We've got a regular or traditional Eggs Benedict, an offshoot of it with some smoked salmon. If you want, I like just a little tiny bit of kosher or sea salt right on top, just for that little extra nudge, and you're good to go. And that's it. That's Eggs Benedict. It wasn't too hard. I'm not sweating. I'm not stressing out over it. Take your time with it. Have fun with it, for sure. So that's really it. That's our trip into eggs that we're promised, and the beginning of our next series, which is going to be sauces. Next episode, we're going to roll into the second of the classical French mother sauces, bechamel sauce, which we're going to turn into a Mornay sauce, which is basically a cheese sauce, and that's going to roll into a just unctuous, beautiful macaroni and cheese. And who doesn't like macaroni and cheese? I know I sure as shit do. So again, thank you so much for coming in on our journey with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. As always, I can be reached on the web at urbankitchenrevolution.com, on Twitter at JamesHudsonUKR, or on Facebook at Urban Kitchen Revolution. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Please give this a shot on your next lazy Sunday that you have some friends over, if you're lucky enough to be able to have friends over at this point. And again, thanks for coming on this journey with me, and have a great day. Bye.